All right, so we're in a free to enter tournament. I've got my 5,000 chips, just going for the first few hands. Now, in VR poker, the range that I would play for hands is definitely looser than in a cash game. So, for example, this 5 queen of clubs, I decided that I would play it partially because the guy to my left bet big. The big blind is like 60 or something like that, and he put in $1,600. So I'm okay, cool. I'll call him. I've got him muted. I can't hear what he's talking about. The flop comes up, and this is absolutely perfect for me. This is a perfect bluffing spot. So I pushed all in. I figured that he doesn't have the king. He probably doesn't have the two either. He's looking at me. He asks me probably, do I have it? I can't hear him. He's muted. He folds. I show my cards. He has a little freak out. That gives me an extra little burst of joy early on in my tournament. So we keep on going, and the hands come through. I like ace three kind of. In a real cash game, it's probably, ace rag. It's too trashy, but I decided I would play it until things came around to this point. He went all in and I folded. Most of the time, there's a lot of checking that goes on and not a lot of betting beyond the first, beyond doing the matching the big blind. So there was another one, ace four. Again, the guy to my right bet big relatively, so I folded. Now, 10 jack, I don't know why, it tends to do me good. So I decided I would raise from the big blind. And the guy to my left, who's a different guy now, as you can see, he looks different, he decides to raise me up. And that's great. That means that, oh, that's right. So I get some calls here. We get calls. Do we get calls all the way around? No, one person folds. So we've got four-way to a flop, and I flop a straight. So I made mistakes in this hand for sure. Checking here was for deception value. I'm good with that. As soon as the ace came up, I figured that somebody was going to bet on that. So I checked through again, and I was really disappointed that nobody bet. So here I am with a straight and a really small pot. I'm like, ah. So the next card comes out, and I wasn't thinking clearly. Really, I should have held back. I should have been careful. But I went to bet, and I inadvertently hit the table and did a check. So it checked around until the guy across from me put in a bet, which let me raise, which I'm so lucky that I didn't just give all my money away there. So he calls, and the guy at the end of the table calls, and fortunately nobody has a flush, and my straight holds up. Now we're on a new table, and we're greeted with pocket kings. Finally, I think this is our first actual premium hand. So I raised a little bit, four times the big blind, and I'm on a new table. You never know how new tables respond. But apparently, betting before the flop on this table is taboo. They're a little bit social. But there's always somebody on the table who isn't social, who's here to play the game, and so I got one caller out of that entire thing. So here we are, and I've got an overpair to this, with the flop. He doesn't have very much money. He goes all in. I just call him, and it turns out that I have the better hand, and he's out of the tournament. All right, for this next hand, there's a little bit of commotion going on the table. There's a young person who's joined who thinks he's playing blackjack and he's being mouthy. He's asking how to get to blackjack. He thinks he's in blackjack. Anyway, so I got top pair and I bet while all the commotion is going on. They're muting him. And I still have a pair, but now I'm hoping that he doesn't have a queen. And you should always break down your money at the poker table in VR because it doesn't do it automatically. But look at this, lo and behold, I've got trips. Awesome. I take a quick glance at his money and I try to bet what sometimes, usually, what they would call. But this time I actually overbet on the pot and he just folded. That was kind of dumb of me. I really should have played it a little bit better. I could have gotten more money out of this hand, but there was commotion going on and I made a mistake. All right, so next up, ace king. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. So we got to fold, we got to we got limping in because I'm on a very social table here. These are friends who play together, and they are very pre. They are very limping into the pot. But when they got something, they go all in and make it easy to fold. So there we go, three of a kind, and I just folded my ace king. And then I folded my 6-2, and I look and I'm going, ah, crap, I could add trips. And then the river comes up, and I'm like, oh man, I could have had a full house. Oh well, I'm glad somebody at least had three of a kind, and it wasn't high card that got it. Uh, yeah, I know that's supposed to be somebody's hand, but it's not my hand. Okay, so now we got pocket sevens. Let's see what we can do here. Again, I'm on this table that really doesn't like it when you raise pre-flop. So I just did a min raise. She's looking like she's gonna call it, and she actually folds. And then he folds, and then she folds, and then that guy folds. And I'm like, really? Okay, I had a pair of sevens, took down the pot. Thank you very much. Next up, Queen King. Awesome. Let's do it. So again, I'm on this table that doesn't like it when you bet pre-flop. They fold easily. So I figured that I'll, put some pressure on them. Fold. Oh, good. I got a better on here. Wicked. So he calls, and I've got top pair. So I'm going to keep putting some pressure on. There's that flush draw there. You're going to pay for it if you're going to be drawn for it. And he just folds. And I put this up so that this social people player can know that I actually am not just bluffing, that I do have cards, whatever. Next up, King 10. Immediate fold. This guy looks like he's going to initially just put some money in, but now he puts in all of his money. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And it turns out that I have a king, and he's got a pair of fours. So I double up and take a chunk of his stack. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is the very next hand, and I haven't shown my pocket cards, but right now I've got a gut shot, and it's not very good. But I find that after a big win, it's kind of easy to bluff people out of the pot. So I took a little stab, and he folded, and I took down a really small but simple pot. The next one coming up is one of my favorites. Here we go. 10 jack, even offsuit seems to do me well in this game. So our buddy over there bets twice the big blind. One next to me calls, I call, and dude across the way gets out of the way. Now I've got top pair. It looks like, he could have a straight draw in there. There's no flush draws at this point. So everybody just checks around. I checked because I thought he was going to bet, and then he didn't bet. So now there's a straight draw on the board. If you have those cards, you maybe already have a straight, but I'm hoping that they don't, and I'm going to make it expensive if they're trying for that fifth card. So my target calls, and the other guy gets out of the way. And the final card comes up, and I take a look at this, and I figure that, meh, I've got top pair. I don't think he has a straight by the way he was betting. So I throw some money in, but not a lot, just a little bit because I want to get a little bit more money from him. But then he goes and raises a whole bunch. Okay, sure. I know you play wild and loose. Let's do it. And it turns out he's got absolutely nothing. So he just handed his money over to me. And the guy across to me says, nice gift. That was a really nice gift. I agree. And then the very next hand, I've got king ace, and you can see this guy over here, he's getting ready to go all in. He's a little bit tilted maybe, or just doesn't know how to play. This is the only way he knows how to get chips.
It's a battle. Battle for our chips.
Guy says, hey, it's a battle for our chips. And again, he's got nothing, I've got nothing, but I've got the better nothing. So I clean him out of his chips, and the guy across to me says, that was a really nice gift. Then I leave the table, and I'm rejoining the tournament because I want to be put on a table with more players. Now there was only 2 of us left on that table. I'd rather have a couple more opponents. So here I am with my Jack 10 on a little bit more full table. Got a guy on my left who likes to bet, so that's great. He bet big. Everybody else folded. I called him, and now this looks awesome. and I'm just gonna take a look at what money he has and put some pressure on him. So I put 25K in the middle, and he folds and gives me his money. That was awesome. Thank you very much. I'm up to 100K now. Okay, so the next playable hand, again, Jack 10. It seems to be that I like this and it likes me. So guy like next to me bets. There's a call. I raise to 4,000. They call. One calls, both calls, and the flop comes, and I miss. Don't really like that, so I'm gonna check that back. Too many options for them to have the thing. But everybody checks. We get another card up, and I have a pair, and still everybody checks. So when we get to the final card and everybody's checked the last two rounds, I'm just going to throw in a little bit of money. The minimum bet, may as well. He calls, and it turns out that he actually does have a pair of aces, so he takes it down. Good to know that they are a little bit tricky and not so easy to read. Alright, so I got pocket deuces. I do not like to raise on pocket deuces. So, but I do like a set. So, especially on a board like that, if anybody has overcards or over pairs, they are going to bet that. I find that people really are easy to bet on those low boards. So if you have something good on the low boards, here I am betting like 85% of the pot. He folds and I take it down. I display it for them. I don't have to, but you know, sometimes nice to show the stuff to demonstrate that it was a good fold. Alright, so now I've got pocket queens. Finally picking up here. Earlier in the tournament I had crap hands and I was playing a lot of crap hands and had a couple of good hands, and that let me fold the bad hands, and now we're just showing the good ones. So I've got, again, a pair of queens, and I want to put pressure on this guy to my left. He likes to bet big, but he folds the pressure, and both of them fold the pressure. So my queens takes it down. And now as we get going, we have somebody new on the table who hasn't seen this little run of pocket pairs that I've had. And I bet with my 6-10 diamonds, and now I've got a straight draw and a flush draw, but I don't have anything except top pair. The guy across from me is betting, but when he bets, he's betting weird sizing. So 2,500 into a $12,000 pot. I don't really think he has anything when that ace came up. Now there's the flush draw. He could have had the flush come in. He looks at his cards, he looks at me, and he bets 4,000. So yeah, I don't think you have it there. So what I'm going to do is raise you up and see what's going on, and he ends up folding. So he was aggressing, and he ends up saying, I was just trying to get you to fold. I muck my cards and take another $35,000 pot. So now he's gone, and some other guys are gone, and there's only three of us on the table. And I flop two pair, top pair, and bottom pair. And I'm just waiting for somebody else to bet. So he bets on the two queens, but he didn't bet large. Now the straight draw came in, but again, it's this weird bet sizing, 4,000 into 12,000. So I just raised him, and he called, and he indicated that I probably had it, and then I had it, and we fist bumped. All right. I'm now 4th place out of 19 remaining players. Okay, so here we are. We haven't gotten to the final two tables yet. My next hand is King 6 offsuit, and I've noticed that these guys fold the pressure. So, oh, okay, so he called me, and he called me. Well, I guess I didn't put on enough pressure then. Let's put on some more pressure. They both check it to me, so I just decide to go all in. And then they fold. Thank you very much for that extra bit of money. I appreciate it. Okay, so for this next one, I'm on the big blind, so no matter what I have, I'm gonna check. There's three of us left on the table. We're not to the final two tables yet. He bets big. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm out of there. Ace 6 offsuit. Not a great hand, but again, three of us on the table. People who fold easily to pressure. So I put in a bet, and one of them takes me up on it, and I continue my pressure even though I don't have anything, and he folds. I keep on picking up these little pots like that because I find that people are quite willing to fold to pressure. So now I've got ace king. I finally have something that's worthy of betting up. I bet, and he just folds. So now there's just the two of us on this table. No, sorry, there's three of us on this table. And I'm just kind of continuing here. I'm raising the big blind and seeing if they're call. And they are folding and folding, and I'm picking up pots. So now I'm on the big blind again, have jack 5 offsuit, and everybody just limps in, so I get to see a free flop. And now I've got a low pair, and I've got a straight draw, I guess a flush, or a couple of straight draws in there. But let's just check it back since that's pretty standard. Okay, so he bet 8,000. I had a pair, but I really didn't want to risk it, so let's just get out of there. Ace 6 suited. You put the money in, I'm going to raise you and see if you can take the pressure. And he calls me. So we get to see a flop where I've got top pair, and the odds are he doesn't have a 9, so let's put more pressure on him. And he goes all in. Awesome. Let's call it, see what he has. Ah, pair of queens. Not good enough, sir. Thank you very much. And he's eliminated. Now, there's two of us on the table. I have a pair of 7s here. The other person knows that if you leave the table and rejoin, then you can actually get onto a table with other people. So he folds on purpose. And because he left, I get rebalanced to a new table. And right away, my first hand is 10 jack offsuit, which has done me well. We all limp in, aside from the guy who folds. Cards come up, and I've got an open-ended straight. That is very nice. One bet goes in, then a raise goes in. He folds, and I make the call. We got another fold. Now, the first better shoves all in. And this guy calls, and I call. The next card up is a 6, and I really don't like to see that because that finishes somebody else's straight, and I think that's what this guy has. But I have an open-ended, and I would have the better straight. So I think about it for a second, and I have to do it, so I bet. And I get lucky, and the queen comes up, and I win a really nice pot, and I eliminate 2 people from top 10 in the tournament, and then we get rebalanced yet again. Now, when I'm on to this table, I'm put with a couple of people I haven't been playing with. The blinds are pretty high. I'm on the big blind, and let's see what we can do here. So everybody kind of limps around, and I check, get a free flop. Don't really like it. Don't like seeing that ace when I got my king. But everybody's just checking, and then my king comes up at the end. Well, may as well try. Let's see if somebody's been sitting on an ace. She calls, he gets out of the way, and yes, she had an ace, so she gets that one. Next up, king, queen suited. We got some early folds, and the small blind comes along, so I bet to put some pressure on. He calls, and we have this bit of a run out that looks kind of crappy for both of us, but we just keep on checking. And when the ace comes up, I wonder, but I don't do anything, and well, we both had crappy cards, and I won with the best crappy cards. So here I am on the small blind. It is suited 10-7. I don't really like it because it's a two gapper, but we're here at the near end of tournament and I'm playing with people who probably have higher cards. So this kind of worked out for me a bit. Now I've got an open-ended straight. I bet and he folds. I get one taker and four comes up. Let's represent that maybe we have three of a kind. Sure, let's do that. Does she bet? Does she take it? She stares at it for a while, thinking about it, and then folds. And I take down another nice pot. 654,000 when this table apparently closes, except it didn't close and dealt us a new hand. Ace King offsuit. He goes all in, and everybody calls. It's a family pot. Yay! Goes up, and the aces hold up against four people. His pocket ace is held up. That's pretty crazy. All right, so two people are eliminated, and we are now balanced to the final table. Woohoo! Everybody here. It looks like one other person got eliminated. Now we're down to 5. And let's see what we can do on the final table. I like to put pressure, especially on things where I think people don't have cards, you don't have trips, that kind of thing. I'll put pressure to represent those. I've got Queen 9 suited. Let's just keep on raising them up, see if people will come along. He goes all in, and I call his all in, and he's got the ace, and he beats me. Darn it. Oh well. Okay, King 5. Again, I should probably fold some of these, but it's getting near the end of the tournament. I'm just putting pressure. We got fold, fold, and one call. And I got my king, so I go all in, and he folds. And I get another nice little pot there. Next one up is King 2. Again, heads up, Kings is good, King 2 is whatever. But hey, everybody folds and I don't have to worry about it. Next one is King Queen unsuited. And I put in the basic bet. I'm up against this guy. I've got the queen, but I'd like to have some deception value here, so I just kind of check all the way through until he bets. And he puts a bunch in. He doesn't go all in, but he puts a bunch in. And I call it, and I win it. Now, Ace 8 unsuited. Again, just continuing to put on pressure. Hoping to get some of those blinds, folds, and stuff like that, especially when I'm on the big blind and I've already paid. Okay, so 2 have folded, just me and you here. Of course, the straight draw comes in, but I'm not worried about that. I'm just looking at that one card that matches, right? Unfortunately, it turns out that he's got an ace as well, and his kicker is better. So he takes the main pot, and what you saw there was just the side pot. And now I'm last minute there. I'm in 4th position. There's 4 people left, and I just go all in with whatever hand I have, because it's time to end this. I'm actually kind of proud that I got to the end without going all in a whole bunch of times, but at the end I got 4th place, and that was a lot of fun.